Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are from. It's Rod here from Stay Strong, Live Long. It's 9 o'clock in Sydney, and it is actually Tuesday, like it always is for our live stream. If you're tuning in from the United States, I think it's going to be around about 5 o'clock or so in the afternoon. So welcome. If you are just tuning in, then say hi in the chat. Let me know where you're from, and we'll give you a shout out. Let's just run. I've got my trusty moderators in the background, Bonnie and Melissa. Thank you also for being here today. And I'll get the banner for the questions to get thrown up, guys. I'll try not to take over. I'll let my moderators do what they do best. It's 6 p.m. in Ohio. Thanks for tuning in, Bonnie, and thank you for that, Melissa. Now, so what did I want to? There's questions for people. So for those who are new to the channel and you haven't already consumed some of my content, you just thought you'd click on a random live stream to see what's going on. And now Alexa's talking to me. Okay, thanks, Alexa. So I started the Carnivore Diet about 4.5 months ago, around about then. I talk a lot about, what I'm eating, exercise, talk a lot of mindset stuff in my channel as well. And today is really just about sharing information about how to succeed eating the carnivore way, any questions that you might have. Me personally, I didn't start because I had a whole lot of weight to lose, but I really thought that the health benefits that Dr. Jordan Peterson was talking about was something that I wanted. And as a result, I've started eating that way. And there's a litany of health improvements that I've had. One of the big ones was I was suffering with sciatica for a good 6-7 months, could barely walk more than just a slow walk. Now I can actually sprint. The sciatica is completely gone, completely eliminated. All kinds of digestive issues that I was having. Found out that I was particularly sensitive to vegetables, not so much fruit, but after I eliminated vegetables for a period of time, and then once I introduced them back again, I suddenly discovered that they're the things that made me very upset my bowel in a big way. So I eliminated those. So that was a great benefit, and now I can not feel uncomfortable in the stomach region ever again, which I'm pretty happy about. And it's just a whole lot easier to make sure I get enough protein in. I've had my body composition has changed a lot. So I used to fluctuate up and down with my weight and my percentage of body fat I was holding all the time. I would go up for a couple of months, then down for a couple of months, and up for a couple of months. Now it's just been steady. I've gradually lost body fat over a period of time. And now I almost don't have to think about actually just being at having the body mass the way that I want, which is something that I've never had for, I guess, the last 25 years, ever since I've been training and exercising. So we'll do a couple of shout outs and then I'll just run through some of the, I've got a couple of things I want to show you as far as quick meals, because that's the topic for today, is things that are quick to cook that I enjoy. And then we'll go through some of the questions as well. Annabella, the Happy Carnivore, thank you for joining in as usual. Good morning to you. Marnie Mac, hey, hello. I don't know that I've seen you join in the live stream before, if I'm not mistaken. So welcome. Thank you for joining in. Don, hello to you as well. Whereabouts are you coming to us from today? Caprice Hill from Indiana. Hello. Thank you for joining in. And Annabella, it's 116 days of carnivore. Well done. I can remember, I think you started not long after I did, if I remember. I remember you talking about your journey in the early days of my channel. So congratulations. Good for you. Well done. So what are the favorite meals that I have? In Australia, we have a thing called rissoles. Now, you don't know what that is in the United States. If you're from the UK, you will. So rissoles is another name for burger patties. So I generally cook these at least a couple of times a week, and I am going to, if I can make this work, I'll throw up the short. It's just a 1-minute video that shows exactly how we cook those. So I'm going to run that for you now. Salt and a third of a cup of Parmesan. Whack in the ground beef and the eggs and all the herbs and spices. You don't have to put those in. You can just put the salt in if you want to go pure carnivore. Mix it around. I love this mixer, but you can do it by hand. Put some grease-proof paper on a tray and wet that. Spread the water around. Weigh out 100-gram patties. onto the tray. Get another sheet of greaseproof paper and wet that. Flip it over and then put it down on top of the patties and squash them down with another tray. Makes it really quick. Fry those up in some tallow until they get to about 70 degrees Celsius or 160 degrees Fahrenheit. And they will be absolutely delicious. So that's what we call rissoles here in Australia. They are so simple. So I've even adjusted that recipe a little bit. You can, if you don't want to add the cheese in, you don't need to add the cheese in. The egg is a fairly important ingredient because it's a binder. But if you don't do eggs, you could add in something like ground pork rind. So I guess pork rind flour, you call it. It's hard to find that here in Australia. They're just to help bind them together. And nowadays, I actually make them into much bigger, full-on burger patties. And they're so good. They're a great thing to have in the fridge. Often people get caught out if they feel like a snack or something, or just want something to eat and they don't have anything ready to eat, but these will keep, for many days in the freezer. And you can also pre-prepare the patties and, keep them in the freezer as well. Pull them out the day before if you're going to cook them the next day. So I generally cook a big batch of about I use 2 kilograms of meat, so that's about 4.5 pounds of ground beef, and then I make a big batch of those, and that's good for a couple of meals and a few snacks for myself and my 2 teenage sons who eat just as much as what I do. So that's probably one of my favorite go-tos. And the other one, which I've recently been really getting into, is, let's just pop this up, is this actually looks, it doesn't look very appetizing, does it? That's my crockpot. And somebody, I can't remember who it was, mentioned crockpot in the comments on one of my videos. And I thought, oh, it's the slow cooker. And we call it more often, we call that a slow cooker in Australia. And this is where I was successful with brisket. Now, that's not brisket. That's just, is it chuck? I think it's chuck steak. Oh, I can't remember exactly. Anyway, it's the cheapest cut of steak that I can possibly find. And if you do it on slow, so going back to the brisket, previously I tried brisket all kinds of different ways. I've sous vide it, I've pressure cooked it. I've just not been particularly successful. It was either a little bit flavorless or it was a little bit tough. Or anyway, I did one effort in the crock pot. But on mine, there's a low setting, there's a high setting, and then there's like the warm setting. So I did one on high initially because I was in a hurry, and that's my mistake. And then 4 or 5 hours later, it was still pretty tough. So the next time I did it overnight, low setting, and it was so good. It was so good. It was so tender. It was so tasty. And I thought, that's it. So now I've just put this cheap cut of steak in. I put this on last night. It is seriously tender, and that is now my favorite. So anything like chip cuts of meat. So this works out to be $4.60 US per pound, or in Australia, it's $15.99 a kilo from Aldi. And generally speaking, brisket is the same price. So it's great because it's a cut of meat that's got plenty of fat, it's got plenty of connective tissue. It's really, really nutritious, and it's so simple to do. So basically, all I do is I throw this in. It's 30 seconds to prepare. Throw it in, sprinkle salt. I add in some garlic and onion powder, 2 cups of water, bang, put it on, leave it on overnight on the low setting. That's it. So simple. So as far as quick meals go, this is now my favorite device. I go through phases. I really like the pressure cooker, but if I'm organized ahead of time, then I'll use this. And I was reminded of this from Nia from Nia's Way channel. I noticed that she uses a crock pot quite a bit too. So I'm keen to try some other cuts, like maybe in some chops and other things. I'm super excited about using a crock pot now because it's just so simple and the results are so good. Laverne Dijkstra, like as in, it's almost like Laverne and Shirley. I remember, everyone watch Laverne and Shirley? This, maybe I'm just showing my age here, but this is an American TV show back from the 80s. I used to love that show. Remember Laverne? I think she had red hair and she used to work in the canning factory. Hi from Pinchers Creek, Alberta, Canada. We're enjoying our first snowfall. Excellent. Well, those who love the snow. Yes, I love the snow too. And it's definitely not snowing today. It is, well, it's 22 degrees Celsius indoors, which I think is around about, it's getting up towards 70 Fahrenheit. Brenda Buchanan, hello from Kansas, USA. Welcome. Thanks for joining the channel today. Melissa from Copper's Kitchen. This is just a mum joke. Well, we cannot cook alligators because we only have crock pots. Yeah. We don't really do alligators here. We do have very large crocodiles, though. So the saltwater crocodile in the Northern Territory, they occasionally pull the odd tourist in to the water and you don't see them again. But it doesn't happen very often. It's maybe like a couple of times a year. And it's typically tourists who don't realize that there are large crocodiles that are right near the beach. So, if you ever go to the Northern Territory, just make sure that you're aware of where the crocodiles are, because they will get you if you're not careful. Annabella, when I hear rissoles, I always think of the castle. Such a great Australian movie. Yeah, I don't know. They mentioned the rissoles in the castle, but that is if anyone wants to watch a great Australian movie with lots of different vernacular, if you're from the States, you should go and look up The Castle. I think it's on Netflix. It is a seriously funny movie, and it's not that different from how a lot of Australians speak. So it's very, very entertaining. Yeah, I used to love that show, Bonnie. It's one that I'm quite fond of. Don Chongi, remember that show too? Yep. It's classic. Carnivore Dog Sitter Becky, welcome. Thanks for tuning in from Indianapolis. Appreciate you joining me today. All right, I'm all caught up with everybody, which is really good. So what else has been going on with the channel? So I had a interview with, okay. It was the opposite. It was me actually being interviewed by another channel, which is the first time that's happened. And now I've put myself on the spot because I didn't take notes anyway. There would be an interview coming out fairly soon. I've got one interview in the bag with Anita from Ketogenic Woman, which I haven't finished editing yet, but that will be coming out very soon. We've also got Carnivore Ron is coming up. We're just doing a test run with Ron's Tech tomorrow, and so he'll be appearing on a live stream at some point in the future, or on a pre-recorded interview. And I've also got Nia from Nia's Way is going to be doing an interview. I think it's next week. I know she's only just booked that in, so I'll be having a chat with her. So there's plenty going on with the channel as far as interviewees go. Brenda Buchanan, pressure cooker has been drying out my roast even on low. Maybe slow cooker on low will be juicier. Yeah, so you can see, I'll just throw this picture up again. Now I put in 2 cups of liquid, and then as it goes overnight, there's a lot of the connective tissue and the fat breaks down and liquefies. And I found with the brisket, so the what was actually sticking out of the water, in the first sort of 10 hours, it was good. Like, it wasn't dry, but then it did start to dry out a bit. So I'm thinking that maybe it just needs to be just covered and may need to add a little bit of liquid to it. But I used to find that out. It seemed like it was a little bit dry. So that's, anyway, I'll update and how that goes. And then if this actually works out, I'll make it short on that. But I'm keen to try that out. Carnivore Life, welcome. Thanks for tuning in today. Appreciate you supporting the channel. I love my pressure cooker. Yes, prepared beef brisket last week in it. Yeah, I've done a bit of brisket, and now that I've done the slow cooker, I'm like, it's just something in the pressure cooker. It's good. The texture is good, but the flavor that you get from the crockpot is definitely superior. And I guess it's because the meat is like marinating in its own juices for a lot longer. Annabella, the Happy Carnivore. Who's your favorite carnivore doctor? Well, I don't know that I've got a favorite. Well, yes, he is a doctor. Dr. Benjamin Bickman is one of my favorites. Now, he is not a medical practitioner, so he's a PhD, so he's a scientist and a researcher. But he talks a lot about insulin, metabolic health, fat and carbohydrates, how they impact metabolic dysfunction. I just find him fascinating. So he's probably my favorite. And then I've got a bit of a soft spot for Dr. Chafee, because he's an athlete, and he's in Perth, where I used to live for 15 years in Australia. And I think that what the way his perspective and the way using research, and he's fairly he has a fairly narrow and strict view, which I quite like of the carnivore diet. Like he's pretty much a lion, I think. I know he occasionally has some raw milk and things like that, but he's a lot stricter than a lot are. And I kind of like that perspective, although I myself aren't particularly strict. I don't do lion, I do carnivore with butter, some cream. Occasionally I even have some milk, very occasionally though. And then also, what would I miss there? Cheese as well. But I like his strict approach. And then I think Dr. Berry has done just the amount of content that he produces. And also, because they two doctors do live streams, I find it's really useful to watch the live streams and then see the questions that people ask and then see what the answers are. I just find that's really beneficial because sometimes there's things that people ask me that I don't know the answers to, so I can get some perspective there as well. Yeah, so I guess they'd be my two favorites. Laverne Dijkstra, yes, remember Laverne and Shirley, great comedy. I'll get that comment less and less unless a person is in their 50s to 70s. Yeah, totally. My wife wouldn't know that because she's like 10 years younger than me. Annabella the Happy Carnivore, Dr. Anthony and Dr. Paul Mason are my favorites. Dr. Paul Mason, I haven't run across him yet, so he's one to check out. Bonnie, Ben Bickman, Why We Get Sick, excellent read. Yeah, I actually bought that book, but I still haven't read it yet, but I have consumed a lot of his content, and he's really, really good. Bonnie, pork spare ribs in the slow cooker crockpot, wonderful too. Thank you for that, because every time I go to Aldi, I go looking at the spare ribs and go, ooh, I've never actually cooked spare ribs. This is the great thing about carnivore is I used to cook quite a lot, and then I went through a stage where I didn't really cook much. But there's so many different meat dishes and so much variety that you can try that there's still all these cuts of meat that I haven't even had a go at yet. So spare ribs in the crock pot. So I guess, Bonnie, would you just, like I've done here with this one, just cover it in water, add in some salt, spices, chuck it on slow and see how it goes? Is that how you would do it? I'm thinking that's probably how you can do most cuts of meat that way. Now, there was another question I wanted people to okay, right. So given that there is some sort of momentum going with the channel as far as interviews go, talking to other people who are in the space, other doctors. So if there is anybody that you would like to see interviewed, then I'm interested in getting some nominations for that. Perhaps I'll do a community post about it, but if you could let me know in the comments who you'd like me to reach out to have an interview with, then I'm happy to do that. I like to interview people. I've had quite a bit of practice with that with my other channel, and I think it's just really fun just to get different perspectives. And what's surprising to me is that sometimes Anita from Ketogenic Woman is a great example. I thought she would be interviewed a lot, but oftentimes people don't even reach out excuse me, to other people to be interviewed. So I'm always happy to reach out to people and say, hey, do you want to come and have a chat? So yeah, if there is somebody that you'd like to see me interview on the channel, whether it's on a live stream or a pre-recorded interview, yeah, let me know. And I'll see what I can do. Carnivore on Dr. Baker, and yeah, obviously Dr. Baker is kind of like the OG for the carnivore diet. They've done a lot to popularize that and spread the word. Obviously, Jordan Peterson and his daughter Michaela are another two that have helped as well. Oh, that's my phone. I've really got to remember to turn my phone off. Dr. Paul Mason, yeah, actually, I have heard other people mention him, Annabella. So maybe, you know what, I'm going to actually reach out to him and see if we can bring him on to have a chat, because I don't know much about his stuff. I'm going to consume some of his content and see if he'll come and have a chat. Bonnie, spare ribs, season with your rub. I have some rub. Place in the crock pot, quarter of a cup of water until done. Oh, okay. So you're not really covering them. It's just a little bit of moisture in there. And you finish off under the broiler. So I guess I could also, I've got a really tiny broiler, or it's almost non-existent in my oven. So I guess I could put it in the air fryer though, to do the same job, because it's got the top and the bottom elements. I've got a big air fryer. I could do it that way. Thank you for that. I'm going to give that a go too. Spare ribs. Cool. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So if you've got any ideas, any other influences, either they don't have to be an influencer. If you follow someone, a YouTuber that talks about the carnivore way or anything that's related to exercise, health, and fitness, and you'd like to see them interviewed, then sure, let me know, and I'll have a chat with them. All right, let's go back to where we are. Great. Actually caught up with everybody. What else did I want to talk about today? I see. You know what? Let's have a little bit of a chat about sleep. I don't often hear people talk about sleep, and if there's one thing that can ruin your health faster than anything else, it's not getting enough sleep. And how much is the ideal amount of sleep? I'd say the ideal amount of sleep actually does vary from person to person. Statistically, research has shown that around about 7 hours a night is good. I know some people require less, some people require more. Some people talk about actually getting less sleep after they switch to carnivore. And I was reminded of, well, I can't get that frog in my throat to go. Well, we'll just have to persevere. I had a terrible night's sleep night before last night on the weekend. I was staying at my wife's house. It was hot. I'd forgotten my earplugs, and she's in a new house where there's a lot more street noise. So everything about the environment was not dialed in, and I just kept getting woken up, and I just felt absolutely terrible the next day. And it just reminded me of the different things you can do to dial in your environment. So one thing that I found really helpful is I don't like if you sleep and the environment is hot or warm, you're never going to get as good a quality sleep. So firstly, try to control for temperature. So I use, if you've got an air conditioner in your room, great. Around about 16, 17 degrees Celsius is good. And I'll tell you what that is in Fahrenheit. So that's around about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. I find that's a good temperature. And I also have a thing called a chili bed. So I'll see if I can actually bring that up for you. So a chili bed is like a mattress cover that goes underneath the sheet, but over the top of the mattress itself. And then it pumps. So it has a refrigeration unit, and it pumps cold water through this little kind of cover in these tiny little capillaries. And so it keeps your body cooler. And if you've never used one of these, it's really quite amazing. So I track my heart rate during the night with this, which, there we go. That's the Oura ring. So it gives me my heart rate during the night and also during the day every 5 minutes, but it tracks it constantly during the night. And my heart rate will drop if I'm in the chili bed and I've got the room cold, generally about 5 beats per minute lower during the night if I've got the cold temperature dialed in. So it means that your body recovers when your heart rate drops down, you get a deeper sleep. It's just a whole lot of things that are really great about that. So if you're someone that runs quite hot, that's something you can think, look into. So what are temperature, consistency? So sleeping at a consistent time. So the same sort of go to sleep and get up time or similar. The go to sleep time is pretty important. So if you can do that on a consistent rather than jumping around, like one night go to bed at 9, one night go to bed at 10:30, it tends to throw your circadian rhythm around a little bit. And if you can do sleep consistently, you'll generally get better sleep. What else do I do? So this is one that Dr. Ben Bickman talks a lot about, is how long you eat before you go to sleep. So if you can allow at least 2 hours or more between your last meal and when you go to sleep, you will always get a much better sleep, or at least in my opinion, you will. I find it always has an impact. So if I eat, I usually go to bed like around about 8:30. If I've eaten later, like 7 or 7:30, it's definitely going to be not as good quality deep sleep. It'll take longer for my heart rate to drop, and it's just obvious that my body's still digesting food. So if you can eat a lot earlier, and then if you do get a little bit peckish, a little bit snackish before bed, then I've found that some butter is great. So you just have like a spoonful of butter before bed, and that seems to help a great deal as well. Light is another one. So the less ambient light then that you've got in your environment, the better that you're going to sleep. Some people say, it's got to be completely dark. No, not even LEDs or anything like that. And anything like that can actually, you have like photo-receptive cells in your skin. So even though your eyes are closed, these cells still can sense light, and that can actually impact on your sleep as well. So I try to control light as much as I can. I've got blackout curtains. I have a friend who's very, very pedantic about light, and so she has blackout curtains, but then no chargers in the room, no lights, no nothing at all in the room. So controlling for light can be a big one, and then controlling for sound as well. So I've always worn earplugs probably the last couple of years, and they help a lot with not being woken up. And then also rain sounds. I don't know if I've got it here. I don't actually have it. Yeah, I've got like a little rain noise machine as well, which I sometimes use, and that just creates sort of like a background white noise, which is especially good when you're traveling. And if you have that up loud enough, it just sort of drowns out all the other noise. So yeah, that's sleep. That's all my tips for sleep. I don't know if has anyone else got any other tips that they use to help get better sleep? Do you find that you sleep better since you've switched to carnivore, or not as good? Or I'm interested in hearing what people say there. Yeah, Bonnie, up your protein. Yeah, interesting. That is very interesting. I've never heard anyone actually mention that before. Yeah, Annabelle, the happy carnivore. When I eat a huge amount of beef, my sleep is way deeper. Is it? Okay. Pursuit of Bliss. Thanks for joining us too, Bonnie. Amazing how that works. I do much better that type of setup too. Yeah, well, I guess all my meals are really high in protein, so I've never really sort of thought to dial that in. I'm just going to have a look at some of the other comments here, ladies in my moderating team. So Kelly Hogan would be amazing. Oh yeah, I love Kelly Hogan. I've actually, yeah, great idea. I'll reach out to her. She'd be one of these people that probably gets 1,000 invites a day, but I have my ways of actually getting through to people as well. Yeah, Pursuit of Bliss. Sorry, I missed your comment before. Thanks for joining in. Hey, back. Mike Shaw TV, spanning the globe. Yes. Often, according to Google Analytics, about 60% of the audience is from the USA, but I'm happy that there's people from all other parts of the world. Isn't it amazing that we can all be in this kind of forum, and we can all have a common interest, and we can all be in different parts of the world, and we can talk in real time. And I've been working in tech for 35 years, but it still blows my mind that this is possible. Laverne Dijkstra, I love this chat. I'm not a person who enjoys cooking at all. Yes, carnivore eating is so simple, and all the tips are for so quick and easy meats. Thank you, everybody. Yep, that's I enjoy cooking, but I'm also very lazy, so I like to cook things super fast, and that's what I love about the slow cooker. It's like and also the pressure cooker too. It's a real life hack. You just throw it in. It takes literally 30 seconds. All you need is the cut of meat, and that's it. Boom, done, and you get to eat it later on. And you don't even have to do any more work. It's super simple. Let me just find the comment that I didn't already post. Carnivore on. I can't eat past 4 p.m. because I wake up at 2 a.m. sweating if I eat. Yeah, that's interesting. Waking up sweating. Yeah. Pursuit of Bliss. I find cool or cold showers help me to sleep better. That's with the evening shower. Yeah, that's a good one, actually. There is another one which I have tried in the past and have found is pretty good. There's actually like a cold plunge. So put cold water in the bath. And that's been quite effective in that. Helps cool, especially in the hot months, cool my body down before I go to bed. Now, speaking of cold plunges, a lot of people may not realize there's a lot of research being done on cold plunges. I think even Andrew Huberman talked quite a bit about this in one of his podcasts. How exposure to cold activates brown fat. Anyhow, what's brown fat? So on different parts of your body you have brown fat. So when babies are born, they have a large percentage of brown fat, which is actually stored between their shoulder blades and on their back mostly, and we still retain that as humans. Now, brown fat is a special kind of adipose tissue which is thermogenic, so it actually will it's an energy consumer. So it's for warm. It actually warms up the body, and it has its own energy transformation system within it. I forget the proper name for that word. Anyway, it actually uses energy, brown fat, and when you get into cold and start to shiver, brown fat is active, and this thermogenesis starts to occur and to warm up your body. So it's a mechanism for actually heating up your body. And what the researchers found that if you do a cold plunge, so you plunge for a minute and then get out for until you stop shivering, plunge again, and then until you start shivering, if you can hang in there for a minute, get out and do it again 3 times, it would actually consume on average around about 300 or 400 additional calories per day by brown fat activation. That's a lot of calories if you're in the business of losing some body fat, and it's a pretty simple protocol. And it's one that I tried, and some people it's a lot more, like they actually burn a lot more energy activating brown fat, and a lot of people it's a lot less. But the key is the shivering. So once the shivering begins, that's the signal to cause the thermogenesis to start running with I know that's not the right word, somebody's going to correct me on this. Anyway, one to look up. Pretty interesting stuff, almost like another life hack, right? Okay, Brenda Buchanan. Anyone else find that having to urinate in the middle of the night often after carnivore keto? Yeah, I think it's, for me, it's just a case of getting older. I used to be able to go all night, but now I always wake up at least once personally. But it wasn't to do with going carnivore or keto, because I used to do it before, for me personally. I recently started using a soft eye mask for sleep. Caprice Hill, thanks for joining us too. Works well and when it stays on. Yeah, used to, well, I've tried different eye masks, but I just find my head gets too hot. I was like, oh, so yeah, so I've had to find other ways to keep the room dark. But if you're not someone who your head heats up easily, then that's a really good one too. And you don't have to worry about trying to use blackout curtains or anything else. Mike Short TV. Oh yeah, like the smash button. I appreciate that. Obviously, I'm not looking at all the comments because there's already 100 there. So, but obviously someone has said, yeah, smash the like button. Look, you know me, guys. I actually personally don't like to ask for people to smash on the like button, click subscribe, etc. I figure that if I'm producing content that's useful and we're having conversations that are beneficial to people, then you're going to do that anyway. But obviously, if you do enjoy my content, then go ahead and do that. I'm appreciative of that. All right, I think I've got another one here. Pursuit of Bliss. I started using IMAS too. I actually appreciate it. Yeah, there's a couple of different ones around. I found, obviously, because my head gets really hot, there are some that cover your face so well and they completely block out the light, but my head gets too hot. So now I found they're really cheap. That when I have tried them out, they're really cheap one. Didn't block out all the light, but it was thin enough that it didn't cause my head to heat up. I don't know. I couldn't seem to win with those, but that was the best option, was the cheap one for me anyway. All right, what else did I want to cover today? Tell me about have you had any stumbling blocks with the carnivore way of eating in the past couple of weeks? What do you find is a stumbling block for you? Something where you can kind of get thrown off track or thrown off the program. And it's hard to go back again. Social occasions is still the one for me. So on a social occasion, it's not so much with food; it's actually just drinking. So I don't drink a lot of alcohol, but the only time that I do is on social occasions. And gin and tonic is one of my favorites. Now, obviously, tonic is, I don't really, if I do the non-sugary version, it's like just upsets my bowel big time. So I go with the sugary version. So obviously, out of ketosis then. But because social occasions are only every few weeks, then I can live with that. But that's one time where, I could go, well, I'm not going to drink anything. I just feel like then I'm starting to deplete any sort of fun in my life at all. So that's I know that's not for everyone. A lot of people just cold turkey, nothing at all, and it doesn't set me off on a tangent. But yeah, that's where I'm going to go off the program a little bit, and I've found that as long as I stick, like as part of my normal routine, if I stick with carnivore and stick with that way of eating during the week, I've got no inclination to depart from that. And social occasions, I don't actually depart from that food wise either. Whereas before I used to have, okay, I'll do some veggies or some fruit, but just the reaction that I got, especially from veggies, it really made like a lot of gas, a lot of bloating. And I was like, no, I just don't want that. I can tolerate a little bit of fruit, which I've talked about in my locals community before. Like occasionally I'll make banana ice cream for the little kids, and I find that I can tolerate it. If I eat that, I don't seem to have any adverse reactions. So yeah, but I'm interested in what can throw you off. For some people, it's it's emotional things. Some people, it's other things. Sometimes if you've got to have sufficient food in the fridge. If you don't have easy access to it, for me, I was saying to Melissa off the air before we started the show that I can just walk to my local shopping center. It takes 5 minutes. It doesn't even take 5 minutes actually. And there's an Aldi, there's a Woolworths. I've got access to all the food that I need. So I'm really lucky. And so I don't ever, even if my fridge is empty, I can just walk and go and get something. So I'm not going to be eating anything that's off the carnivore way of eating, even if I've completely run out of food. So that's useful. And I know for some people, they would have to get in the car. It might be a longer trip. So they've got to be more prepared. They've got to make sure they've got the food in their house already. Bonnie, how brown fat improves metabolism? There you go. There's a link. So although the link, actually the link will probably work in your comment. Mike Short TV, I went to Montana to visit my folks. They were very supportive of my weird carnivore ways. They even bought me steaks for the visit. Made it easy to stick with it. How good is that? That's what you call support. Pursuit of bliss. I don't know if I could call it a stumbling block, but I'm a texture eater. And sometimes it's hard to satisfy that with meat. It really signals to emotional eating. Yeah, that's a good one. So what texture do you prefer? I think that's the thing that I've found is really great about the crockpot or the slow cooker is that the texture, especially with a tough cut of meat, it converts that really tough tissue into quite a very soft, collagenous, it's like really tender. Oh, it's so good. So good. I don't know if I'm going to get sick of that anytime soon. So yeah, there's a certain amount of satisfaction that comes with that as well. So yeah, are there some textures that you prefer more than others? I'm interested to know about that. All right. Well, I've actually gone through my list of everything that I wanted to talk about today. So let me just have a quick look at what was on my last piece of content. If there's something I wanted to let you guys know about there. Oh yeah, I guess I could ask about. I've done a few different workout videos in the past. I'm one of these. I know that there are some functional and introductory type movements that would probably appeal to a lot of this audience. And I've had some encouragement from my friend Melissa about producing something which is like a really simple for beginners. And sometimes I fall into, well, this is what I like to do. So I'm going to make a video about this. And that's going to involve things like, weighted push-ups and handstands and all the other crazy stuff that I did in my last exercise video. So yeah, I'm curious about what people want to see as far as exercise goes. What would be actually useful to you? Because I'm happy to make more exercise type videos as well if that's something that you want. So let me know about that one in the comments. Brenda Buchanan, wife and mum of 4 means I'm constantly handling and tempted by non-carnivore foods. Yeah, biggest struggle to stay focused. Yeah, it was a change that I had to make in my household, was getting rid of. So my cupboard is almost empty now because the cupboard really only had processed foods in it, and including things like the staples like rice and, pasta, that sort of thing. And I kept those things for a while because I thought, oh, they're some of those things that only the kids will eat, especially the younger ones like 3 and 5. God, they can be super fussy kids at that age. But I think it also meant that was something that I might be eating, and especially pasta. I just wanted to get away from anything that had gluten in it. So I stopped buying those things. And when that happened, then the kids, even if they asked for them, they couldn't have them because they didn't have them in the house. But they gradually sort of gravitated more to like crispy fried eggs, which they'd never had before, and they really enjoy. We've added in some other processed meats like salami. They like salami. We do sausages every now and again. They really like bacon. So I've gradually been able to just get rid of anything that's processed out of the cupboards, and that's been really helpful. And any of those single ingredient, starchy foods, they're gone as well. And I thought it would be harder than what it actually has been, but I think if it's just not available and the kids are hungry, then they'll eat it. I still keep a lot of fruit in the house because they really enjoy fruit. So apples, blueberries, tomatoes like cherry tomatoes. What else do they do? Yeah, strawberries. So anything that's in season, the berries, they like those. So I buy those for the kids. But I'm not tempted to eat those. But there was the other processed foods, the ones that have been designed for you to want to eat them. The colors, the textures, the sweetness, etc. They're all things that I just had to get rid of out of the house. Otherwise, I was going to eat them. And I didn't want to eat them, and they just didn't react well with me either. Pursuit of Bliss, crunchy or creamy. Also, whatever resembles gummies. Crunchy or creamy. Yeah, as far as the textures that you enjoy. Yeah, I can relate to that. Bonnie, TRX classes. Rod, what are your thoughts on TRX sessions for older women? Would once a week be beneficial? I wish I knew what TRX classes were, and I'm afraid I do not know. So I'm going to have to quickly pop that one up on the TRX group training. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I'd have to research that a little bit for you. Look, I'll probably give you a more general answer, is that any exercise is good. And the best exercise that you can do is the exercise that you're going to stick to as well, and that you'll be able to do on a consistent basis. So I think that's my general piece of advice. And if you do TRX training sessions and you enjoy them and you keep going back to them, then it's a good exercise for you to do. That's my advice. I don't think there is actually any right exercise for older people, no matter what other influencers say. I think the best exercise is the one that you can stick to. And I mean, you guys have seen some of the stuff that I do. Obviously, if you've got to cater to where you're at physically. If you've got, arthritis or you've got joint pain, then you've got to dial down the high impact stuff and do low impact exercises. But our bodies are very good at telling us what's good and what's not. So you're going to be sore if you start an exercise program. That's normal. So that's DOMS, which is delayed onset muscle soreness. That's a normal reaction to exercising if a particular way, if you haven't done that for a long time. But apart from that kind of soreness, if you're experiencing that, then that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to stop what you're doing. It just means you just got to take a couple of gaps, like a couple of breaks, and then go again. And then eventually DOMS actually does reduce over time. So, for example, we were doing weighted jump lunges today, which I've done in one of my other videos, and we did some sort of higher reps. So I'm holding on to two 10-kilogram weights, which is like 22 pounds or so. So holding on to 50 pounds and then jumping and switching legs, switching legs, 20 of those in a row, 25 in a row. And I won't be sore at all tomorrow, but that's because I've been doing that for, a couple of months, every couple of weeks. So I'd say go for it. If you're interested in doing those, Bonnie, give them a go, see how they go. Laverne Dijkstra, TRX helped me greatly when we had a gym. I could do squats and lunges with their aid. I am 73 and really hope the new gym will use them. Yeah. Anything that gets you trying. The negative movements are great as well. So if you can't do a positive, let me just explain this. So there's a positive movement, there's a negative movement. So for example, if you were to do a chin up, the positive portion is the one where you pull yourself up over the bar, right? And the negative movement is where you let the bar down, let yourself down. So if you can't do an actual chin up to a bar, you can jump up, put your chin over the bar, and then let yourself down slowly. So you can do negative movements with, say, squats as well. So if actually going from a standing position down is difficult, you can slide yourself down a wall. You can, if actually going from a down position to standing up is difficult, then start up and then gradually lower yourself down. So that's the negative portion of the movement. And if you, as negative movements are like a bridge to being able to do the full movement. So that's something that you could try as well. Same with push-ups. So if you can't actually do a push-up, then start with your arms out fully extended and then gradually lower yourself down to the ground. Just don't do it in a rush. Just do it slowly, and you keep doing those. So work the amount of repetitions that you do just through the negative portion of the movement, and then eventually you get to the point where you're strong enough you can actually do the full push-up. So that's something you could try as well. Pursuit of Bliss, I use the TRX at the gym. Yeah, so it just goes to show how long it's been since I've been to an actual commercial gym, because I have a gym in my friend's Matt's garage, and that's all we use. And I've never actually run across TRX. Obviously, it's very popular because you guys all know about it. So it's cool. I'm going to go and find out more about what that is all about very soon. All right, I'm all caught up on all the comments. My goodness, I'm always amazed at how many people actually tune into these live streams. I really appreciate it, and I hope that it's something that you guys get a lot out of. And I'll keep running these for as long as you actually find them to be beneficial. And it's nice to be able to hang out with everybody and have some sort of community as well. Bonnie, I've taken them before. They're a really great way of doing exercise. Our class is led by a physical therapist. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out. Mike Shaw TV, chat is my favorite part of lives. Love cutting up with my mates. That's great. I never realized that. So yeah, that's good to know. I appreciate that feedback. So I'll keep doing these. I enjoy doing them as well. Makes me get myself organized. It's 9 a.m. So it's good to get it done early. I can do this and go for a walk. It's always a nice way to start the day. And there's also the replays as well, which are great to look at later on. And there's always some comment or question that comes up that makes me think. So something I've mentioned in one of my other videos is I like talking to people that make me think, make me ponder different points of view, different perspectives on life. And this is a great way to get those different perspectives through the live streams and through the chat as well. Okay. All right. Well, that's about all I've got here for today, guys. I usually run for about an hour. We're a little bit short of that, but I think that's okay. I didn't have anything else that I wanted to cover in today's live stream, so I think we'll probably wrap that up. I really appreciate I just get my tongue tied sometimes, don't I? I really appreciate everybody tuning in to the live stream today. The support that I've had from the community is much appreciated. I hope you all have a great rest of the week, what's left of that. And yeah, stay tuned. I've got a couple more pieces of content coming out on the channel this week. And I'll talk to you guys again in the very near future. I'll be back here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. I'll see you all later.